What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Sacred Sunday to you. I'm Love Coach Scott Katamas, and welcome to the Awakening World, our Sacred Sunday edition. And as you can see, we are celebrating World Unity Week. It began yesterday, and we did a beautiful kickoff with it. And it's a powerful week where so many people from all over the world come together to really celebrate what we all want in our hearts, which is unity. And I'm so grateful that this morning, some of my favorite people I have tremendous respect for, are with us. You're going to hear from Swami, also known as Steve Bierman, Swami Beyondananda, Fumi with the Peace Pole Project. And we are really blessed to always have our house musician, Omashar, with us. But to get us started, Hereditary Chief Phil Lane Jr., someone that is a most beloved member of our great global peace tribe, is with us for this morning. And Brother Phil is going to start us off with a prayer, and Omashar is going to play a little music in the background. And I'm turning it over to you, Phil.
Oh, well, Mitaki Epi, my very beloved relatives, the human family, we got to put our heart and mind together, and with this beautiful flute music, we carry this beautiful vibration to reach our hearts out. Otun Kashila Wakanaka, Creator of the universe, most beloved one, all powerful one, most kind one, ever forgiving one, ever forgiving one, most bounteous one, O Ancient of Days, O Blessed Beauty, we call upon your holy power this day. All our beloved ones, join us with the spiritual world who are closer than our closest vein. Krasna Wakantaka, on this second day of World Unity Day, World Unity Week, the second day of 99 days of peace through unity. We give thanksgiving and calling upon all the tribes and nations of the East, and when comes the red sunrise, to come together in unity and harmony. And also that all the tribes of the East and South, we may also come together in unity and harmony and compassion. Unity. Peace. West, from where comes thunder, lightning, rain. Call upon all those spiritual powers of thunder, lightning, rain. All the tribes and nations of the West come together. Great balance. All the other tribes. Every human being. Call upon all the tribes and nations of the North, and where comes the white snow. Purify our hearts and minds so we might understand that we're born in this physical plane of time and space. Each of us is born a sovereignty. Perish. Thanks be to Father Sky and all the massive elements of life. We humble ourselves. It's a beautiful day. The rest of our Mother Earth. Thanksgiving for our mothers who brought us forth to this world and Mother Earth. And we ask, as we move into this global civilization, we might awaken sooner than later the spirituality of the equality of women and men. They're both the same sacred eagle wings, one man and one woman, spiritual qualities. It's the condor and the eagle. By new strength. That's all. With this, with Thanksgiving to be together here, enlightening hearts, this beautiful beginning of World Unity Week. 99 days through peace, through Auli Chante Washtielo, Shukmano, Hemedo, Chukasaba, Hemedo, Auli Chante Washtielo, and say this last prayer for unity. Oh my God, oh my God. Night, hearts of thy servants. Heal unto them thy great purpose. May they follow in thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor and breadth of faith. God, leave them not themselves, but guide their steps, the light of knowledge. Cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily,
Thank you so much, Brother Phil. Thank you very much, Omashar. Beautiful way to start. And welcome, everybody. It's always fun to know where people are coming from geographically. So let us know where you're from. And a big hello to all of you watching on the Facebook pages. A big thank you to our beloveds, John and Summer Raymer in the Sign Network there, who put us out to so many Facebook groups and pages. John and Summer were on this show Friday night and last night again. And so we're really appreciating them. And we always like to say a big hello to our friends watching on Unify. So let us know where you are geographically. And we also, today we're celebrating World Unity Week. What does World Unity mean to each of you? Of course, we're going to hear from Fumi and Brother Phil and Steve and Swami, but we also want to hear from you. So let us know what world unity looks like. What are the steps? What can we do to create world unity? And that's our opening question. And so I'm going to go to Fumi, who's someone I just love so much. Fumi, you bring so much love to this world. And of course, your Peace Pole project and the dedication that you've had. And I know that you live in a state of world peace. But what does this World Unity Week mean to you?
Well, first, Scott, thank you for gathering us here today on your sacred Sunday Awakening the World program. Such a dedication and commitment to serve us all. And, thank you so much for inviting us. And you're so dear to my heart too. So thank you for that. World Unity Week. This is the third year So since 3 years ago, it's been building in momentum and it hasn't stopped. So this year, the theme is coming home together. And it's really, I feel we all feel so privileged to be alive at this moment on this planet, because we have all made a commitment somewhere along in our past to come again to serve humanity. And I believe we all have our roles, our missions, our color, 7 different colors coming together and resonating in one divine purpose, which is to create unity, love, oneness, compassion in the world. So we gather again as a peace tribe, as you so often remind us, Scott, that we are the peace tribe, that we gather again this lifetime and offer ourselves to this sacred work of creating a culture of peace. World Unity Week is really, to me, a way for us to remember our oneness, remember the reverence of all life. There's so many different programs, multi-dimensional and, programs that are offered representing so many aspects of unity and harmony. Each of us will find our niche, and it's going to strike that note in us. We all have that role. We all have a note to play in this symphony of unity, this symphony. So it reminds us to be the best instrument that you are, to really be that vessel, and play that beautiful note together. And it's an opportunity, World Unity Week, to come together and be our best and show up and create that beautiful symphony of oneness and peace. So I'd like to say one more thing. In Japan, unity and harmony, it's expressed by the word wa, and wa is a circle. It's a circle. And perhaps you've seen some Zen masters that do some beautiful calligraphy, and wa is, they just draw this beautiful circle on the calligraphy page, representing harmony, unity, oneness. So I'd like to think that we're all taking that big brush, calligraphy brush, and we're going to be painting that beautiful symbol of oneness, wa, as a circle of all life coming together. So thank you for letting me share.
Oh, well, and we're going to hear much more from you, Fumi, but I love that. That's such a beautiful visual image. You did a really wonderful job. I was able to totally see that in my mind's eye, and that's a wonderful visual for those of us that are kind of visually oriented. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, we'll be hearing more from Chief Phil and from Fumi, but I want to introduce. Many of you know this beautiful, beautiful man, but for any of you who don't know, this is Steve Bierman. And Steve is an internationally known author, humorist, workshop leader. And for more than 35 years, he's written and performed as Swami Beyondananda, the cosmic comic. And Swami is most beloved. But also Steve, on the serious side, has co-authored a wonderful book called Spontaneous Evolution with cellular biologist Bruce Lipton. And of course, we all love Bruce. He's been on the show a few times. And so Steve is here. He may or may not channel Swami. We'll see if that happens. But Steve, you've traveled the world, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about world unity and how we can create that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate Fumi's introduction. I love the circle idea. I've been thinking a lot about Martin Luther King recently. He talked about this longing that human beings have for what he calls beloved community. And that can be represented by the circle. Now, the thing about World Unity Week, it's those other 51 weeks that we're concerned about. And those 51 weeks were consumed with the illusion of separation. So the Swami, who I guess I got struck by lightning during a brainstorm, and Swami came to me. And so I'm going to channel Swami for just a few minutes, talking about his approach. Okay, so he'll be coming through me. Okay, well, we are at this great point of crisis and opportunity. It has been said that that crisis precipitates evolution. When we look at the crises around us, we see the chances of precipitation are about 100%. And to get us through this crisis, I have developed a 4-step program, which is guaranteed to work 3 times faster than 12-step. And that is this. I call it the Great Upwising. Wake up, wise up, grow up, show up. And the thing we need to most awaken to right now is the illusion of separation. We want to wake up to how we've been hijacked and hoodwinked into separating ourselves from other people. We need to come together as we wise up around the power of love and unity around the heart. We need to grow up from children of God to adults of good, fully empowered, no longer obedient children or rebellious adolescents, but fully empowered adults ready to take responsibility at this evolutionary moment. And then we need to grow up and show up on a new playing field, ready to play a new game, thrival for each and all. Okay, well, that's what the Swami has to say. I think right now, one of the great challenges we have is the way we allow ourselves to be hijacked into separation, into othering some other. It's so easy. And we've been polarized into these camps. And so the most important thing we can do right now is to recognize how we've been pulled into the illusion of separation, take a deep breath and step off the battlefield and onto this new playing field where we are all able to play together. It's fractal. This evolution is fractal. It's within us, it's within our communities, it's within our nations, and it's within our world. And once we identify this, these areas of separation, we can then remove ourselves from that separation individually and come together finally as an evolving species.
Beautiful. I so appreciate the call for us to end the polarization. And it is so important for us to just look at what are the ways that we maintain a sense of separation by seeing someone of a different political party or different belief system as bad or stupid or wrong. And instead just recognizing that these are just different colors in the rainbow of humanity. So thank you, Steve, and thank you, Swami. And of course, we're going to be hearing much more from you both. And we're going to call on Brother Phil, who of course led that beautiful prayer. But now we're going to call on Phil to hear what he has to say. So there he is. You're still muted, Phil.
There we go. Well, Mitaki Happy, my very beloved relatives, I really want to give everybody a great embrace. If I could pull the computer inside my heart, I would. And to say that we're so fortunate to be alive today, be witnessing that which the visionaries and the poets and the message of the Creator have been telling us we're going to unfold. And I thank you, Scott, for your visionary leadership and having this program. Of course, Ben Bowler to Unity Earth and the entire team that worked so hard with him. And so many others here I have the honor of speaking with here at this gathering. And, as well as Sign Network, of course, that is sharing our words around the world. And as a global ambassador of the 99 days of peace through unity, I just want to say these things, that from my perspective, the foundation of this issue we're facing is that we don't understand the principle of the prior unity and oneness of our human family and our intimate connection to all life. And the hurt of one is the hurt of all. And the upliftment and the healing of one is the upliftment and healing of all. It's very interesting to me that as we move through this 99 days of peace through unity, which will end, of course, on September 24th, the end of International Peace Week in September, that as I explored what was the goal of International Peace Week, was to eliminate racism and build peace. Well, really, the core of what we're calling for world peace is exactly what we're talking about. That we are one human family, no matter how we might look outside. And science has proven that we're 99.9% the same, except for a few secondary things which explain our hair color and so forth and so on. And I want to say too that this is the day of the sacred feminine. But I wanted to go and say from my perspective a little more about that. When we held the prayer to stop war, literally the forces of light and the forces of darkness, we gathered February. I don't know if the forces of darkness were there, but I tell you the forces of light were there on February 6th, 2020 at Armageddon, where the forces of light and darkness were to fight. But we went there to pray for peace. And I know and we prayed. We prayed for peace. And 22 women led that prayer, because it became very clear to me that it's the feminine qualities of humanity. And a lot of those, by the way, we as men and our oppression of women have, in a way, I'm not justifying what happened here, or any oppression, anywhere where another human being oppresses another. But those who have been oppressed at the same time have learned certain things and have certain qualities the oppressor doesn't have. And I believe it's women of this Mother Earth that are leading peace. Now, I say those qualities because, again, some sisters want war. Like, of course, we've done a mess of the job as men, especially my generation, in terms of look where we're at. So that's really my prayer that I guess in my heartfelt prayer, and I believe with all my soul, and I believe all our prophecies, which are being fulfilled, that we'll be celebrating the second year of the fulfillment of the reunion of the condor, the quetzal and eagle, that prophecy on the 20th of June, we'll be celebrating that. But I want to say that I truly believe with all my soul and heart that we have the capacity as human beings. There's something about us. Maybe it's the phoenix rising from the ashes. That's why maybe these prophecies talk about no matter what we go through, we're going to come back. But we have this opportunity to truly unify our human family. We are unified. It's a spiritual reality. But to become awake and aware, and all that means, to end war. When I talk about ending war, I'm talking about the nation states of Mother Earth are going to be forced to come together and sign a binding treaty that ends war forever upon this Mother Earth. Mm. And then to begin peace on Earth, as Fumi's been telling us all these years, may peace prevail on Earth by 2030, or before, of course. Now, what it's going to take us to do this, I'm not sure. I have with all my soul. I believe this is going to happen. And so does that mean we have to go through nuclear war to do so? Does that mean that? I pray it doesn't. I pray with all my soul and heart that we realize, and especially after I visited my class reunion, I tell you this, after I saw my classmates this weekend, yes, last night or the night before last, we're not Earth suits. If we think we're going to be young all the time. But for the elders, last thing I want to say to my elders, I'm 77 winters, there's many older than me, that they say this: when you're running a 400 meters, it's okay what you do the first 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters, you can be right in front. What counts is the last 100 meters. And that's what we elders are in, our last 100 meters. Maybe our last 100 meters. I mean, last 100 feet, 50 feet. But this is the time for us to arise, to become physically, meaning take care of ourselves, how we eat, to know we have the capacity within us to heal ourselves, and in doing so, we'll help out our younger generation who is looking for wise elders. So physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And also to remember, if we can't be happy today, what day are we waiting for?
Oh, Phil, I love you so much. And, and thank you for giving us that hope and that inspiration, because, it does look so dark and it does look so bleak for many. And you're a wise, wise man. And so to hear from a wise elder, your absolute conviction and belief is very inspiring.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'll tell you, that's what's kept me going for 55 years. You think we're having a bad time today? You should have seen 50 years ago. Yeah. We're awakening up.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
And your program right here in World Unity Week, everything we're hearing, we are waking up as a human family, and we're not going to allow this Mother Earth and all our grandchildren and those to follow to be destroyed. Where I'm coming from.
Yes, I love that laugh too. I love that. I love you, Phil, so much. Isn't he just the best? He's just so wonderful, so wonderful. We're going to come back to Phil in a moment, but I want to give Omashar a chance to speak, because he's more than a musician. He's more than a guy who plays music. He's a wise soul. And Omashar, thank you so much for being at every one of these shows. And always forward. And I know you were really touched over the weekend, the last couple of shows, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about World Unity.
I've been touched by, thank you, Scott. I've been touched by all of our connections over these last weeks. And I've traveled the world extensively. I've played my music in 33 countries, and I've visited 36. And I'm saying that because every time I went to a different country and looked in the eyes of my brothers and sisters that were there, it broke a stereotype. And suddenly I was got brought up with the weight on my shoulders of being English, and that is huge, man. It carries a lot. And until I started traveling, I had this bubble around my head, my conditioning, which kept me separate from everybody. And my first thing was with Americans. And I went to one of my first gigs. I went to Australia, and I bumped into a bunch of traveling Americans. And I loved them from the first moment. I thought, where did this misperception come from? And so slowly I've been unpacking like that. And what I've realized is that my perspective, I own this, is that the war that is there now is really just it's an outpicturing of the war that we have in here. And until we sort the war out in here, the war out there will not stop. It won't. It cannot. I'm speaking for myself here. And so it's taken me, a couple of decades to realize that I'm on a pretty tight schedule at the moment. I have to police every thought, every emotion, every word, every action, everything, and become completely aware. And it's a heck of a job. It's not a hell of a job anymore, Steve, is it? It's a heaven of a job, but it's immense, and but it's also quite simple, because what I've also realized is that every time Great Spirit has tried to come through me, there's been a trigger, and it's brought up some old reactions, and it's pushed it out. But I've watched it coming and going and coming and going and coming and going, to such a state now that I wake up in the morning, I have affirmations to pull me through the day. I'll go out and say hello to the sun, and I'll slowly clear away all the cotton wool that's arisen during the night. And the more I trust Spirit to come in, the more it clears my mind. Anyway, long story short, I know that when we can all clear our minds, all clear our hearts, then all of the separation will fall away, because as Chief Phil states, as we all know, we are all of one consciousness. That's all there is. And the beauty happens not when we're so individual that we want to say, well, you know, I'm better than you, but is the collaboration, the world unity, the cooperation between us. When I'm doing my part, then I can adore you doing your part. And the more you do, the more your part, the greater it lifts me. Anyway, I think that's my little soliloquy right now. So clear your mind, all of us, the whole world, or at least a good proportion of the world, needs to get their heads and their hearts fully cleared and connected again, because then, you know, the millionth monkey effect, then it'll happen, it'll ripple. And by 2030, hopefully sooner, but by then, you know, I think we've got some interesting times to go through. Okay, one last thing. To my last thing is, I've removed myself 99% from all news feeds, all of it. And with that, I don't keep on polluting myself with the effluvia. It's happening anyway, so I might as well work on myself and see if my theory is true. And so, also, happy Father's Day. Love you all.
Thank you so much. So we're going to do another round. And I just want to invite everybody who's watching. And we're on dozens and dozens of Facebook pages, and Alan Steinfeld's YouTube channel, our YouTube channel. Give us your thoughts about world unity, and I'll read some of the comments from people. Right off the bat, Karen Eisenberg writes, "Yes, Amashar, thank you. Clear our minds and connect from our hearts. Love you." Nancy writes, "Heavenly home fun rather than heavenly homework." And of course, lots of people. Dia, who says that Chief Phil is the best. I agree. She says, "I will meet you, Chief, at Tosa Blue Mountain in Ecuador at Sri and Kira's digs in September." Wow, that's going to be quite the union. That's going to be a pretty cool group of people coming together in a very special place. So we do enjoy reading comments from everybody. And look, this is all of us are awakening together. So your thoughts are most welcome. And also, if you have any questions for Chief Phil, Steve, Swami, Fumi, Omashar, let us know. All right, we're going to do another round. And Fumi, I'm going to bring you on. And what's, all of our guests are people who have traveled quite a bit. And Fumi, I'm wondering if you'd be willing to share a story of how you've seen peace in action, how you've seen unity come together, people that, and this is off the top of my head, I haven't prepared anybody with this question, but I just think that sometimes, we're all elders on this show, and so we've been around, and so sometimes sharing stories of where we've observed unity in action or peace in action can be quite inspiring. And I'm wondering if anything comes to mind for you.
Well, right now, Scott, what comes to mind is our beautiful World Peace Flag Ceremony that we present. And this has been presented on every country and every, large gatherings, intimate gathering. It's been done at the United Nations and people's living rooms. So it's very dear to my heart, the World Peace Flag Ceremony. And during this ceremony, everyone unites as one heart to invoke peace in everything single nation, 193 countries by name. So everyone is sending peace by name to all these countries, and not just countries, to souls of every nation, the souls of this land, these people, this culture. And I've seen people, and then we carry the flags of the nations, you know, as a symbol of the souls of the nations, for healing the souls of all these nations. And people just, you know, to me, it's peace in action, love in action, unity in action. When all these people come together, they're holding the heart and soul of each of these countries in their hands and engaging in this beautiful ceremony. And people are really so touched because they feel the cells, you know, the actual cells that make up Gaia. You know, every country is a cell, and we're respecting and honoring every country, no matter how small, a little island dot in the Pacific. All the countries are honored. And I remember one ceremony, there was a Vietnam vet, and it's very auspicious how you end up with a certain flag. People have said, oh, I carried the, you know, Switzerland flag. My ancestors are from Switzerland. You know, I carried this flag. I have such a connection with that country. So this man was a Vietnam vet, and he carried the Vietnam flag.
Wow.
Wow. And I get teary. And that's like about 25 years ago, this happened. I'll never forget it. He was in tears. And he said, I don't know if I can do this. But he did. He carried the flag, and he told me that he experienced this massive healing, you know,
Wow.
this love healing, and something happened and shifted in his heart. So, you know, that is love in action, peace in action. And, you know, I love this ceremony. Someday, Scott, I would love you to be, you know, present when we do a live event, or, you know, we do have the recordings and we do present that online. But to me, that's love in action, unity in action, that people can have direct experience, feeling the souls and the, you know, to send love out to the world, to the global family. And we know how powerful words, thoughts, and actions are. You know, every word, may peace be in Afghanistan, may peace be in Ukraine, may peace prevail on earth. This is the prayer that's said throughout the whole ceremony. It's so powerful, so powerful.
I remember you actually showing the video of the flag ceremony one of the other times you were on my show. Where is it the next one going to happen? When and where?
Well, online, we're doing something during World Unity Week on this coming Friday. In fact, Brother Phil's going to open for us with opening prayer on Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 5 p.m. our time. And this is it's called the Gratitude to the Ancestors of the Land. Very, very special. We're going to call forth over 200 indigenous tribes by name that used to live. Many of them are not around anymore, but you know, the tribes that used to live and honor Turtle Island. So we have a special slideshow that shows, you know, a photograph of these tribes, and we invoke and call the spirit forth and give gratitude to the ancestors of the land, Turtle Island. That will be led by Grandmother Silver Star. And then from there, we go to Awakening the Soul of America. So we will send May Peace Prevail on Earth, the vibration and frequency of that prayer to every single US state, 50 states. So we'll, you know, may peace be in Alabama, May peace be in Georgia. And we have a picture, a slideshow that shows a peace pole in every 50 state. And it's so beautiful. You connect with this icon, the peace pole, that is actually standing on the soil of that state. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. You're all invited to come. That is an offshoot of a world peace flag ceremony. This is more, concentrated on the indigenous nations and the 50 US states. So that's upcoming.
That sounds fantastic. So again, it's going to be called Gratitude to Ancestors of the Land.
Yes.
It'll be Friday, June 24th at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern. And again, I'm going to just real quickly show people to get involved with World Unity Week. Go to worldunityweek.org. And this is the website. And you definitely want to register. And you're going to immediately get an email that'll tell you how to, where the schedule is and all the things that are happening. And then featured events such as, the Awakening World has been a featured event. They have a special link, which is the1.stream, which is where you can catch replays or special events that are happening. But everybody, if you haven't already, go to worldunityweek.org, register, and that's where you're going to learn. There's so many amazing things going on. It's really quite extraordinary. And of course, Fumi and Chief Phil are, very, very actively involved with all of that. And thank you, Fumi. And I look forward to the day that I am standing with you in person at a flag ceremony of some sort. I would love that. And thank you. I have a peace pole that she sent me. I'm so proud of my peace pole. I love my peace pole. So thank you, Fumi. And we'll hear from Fumi one more time before we end. I am going to go to Swami Steve. Steve, I know you've traveled all over the world, and Swami has, of course, his perspective from the big sky up in the rainbow area. Is there any story or experience of unity that comes to your mind or your heart to share?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Fumi, for the peace pole idea. That we need that kind of we need to repolarize with the peace pole rather than the polarization that we have. I in my travels, and lately last couple of years, I've been traveling mainly, I've been Zooming all over the world.
Yes.
And and in those travels, I have found that people feel really overwhelmed about dealing with the situation, or the new word, the situation, in the world at large. However, we do have some impact in the world that's small. And there's two organizations that I appreciate that are bringing together people face to face to rehumanize one another. One is called Braver Angels, and the other is called Living Room Conversations. And these are designed to actually defuse this polarization and focus on what it is that we have in common, the virtues and the values that 90% of us hold in common, rather than focusing on that which separates us. And I think it's really important. When I've been part of a couple of living room conversations, and I've really enjoyed watching the softening of positions. And the positionality comes from fear. People are afraid. The more people are put in fear, the less intelligent they become, and the more willing they are to settle for polarized positions and projecting onto the other. And there's a story that comes to mind about the human condition and human conditioning. A guy's applying for a job, and as part of the job application and interview, he's given a very brief psychological test, and the psychologist draws a picture of a square and says, "What does this remind you of?" The man says, "Sex." The psychologist draws a picture of a circle. "What does this remind you of?" And the guy goes, "Sex." Well, the psychologist draws a picture of a triangle, and he says, "And what does this remind you of?" And the man says, "Sex." Psychologist says, "Well, you seem to be pretty obsessed with sex." And the man says, what do you mean, me? You're the one drawing all the dirty pictures. So we have this issue where we want to project onto the other. And when there is a war or conflict, what happens is we fall into this lesser evil mentality, which allows us to ignore the perpetrations on our side and magnify the perpetrations on the other. So part of this practice that I think we all want to engage in a rehumanizing practice is to recognize when we've actually taken a straw man that we've created about somebody else, and we imagine that that's a real person. In as many ways as you can, whether you do it formally through living room conversations or braver angels, or informally with people in your own family who you have disagreements with politically. And this is where it all begins. This is where the karma meets the road in rehumanizing on a face-to-face basis, so that we have practice at recognizing when we get hijacked into these narratives of polarization, where we're distorted.
Beautiful. That's first of all, the joke made me laugh out loud. You know, it's one of the great blessings of my life, Steve, was I got to know Marshall Rosenberg very, very well. I traveled with him. I did television shows and videos with him. And of course, Marshall, that was the creator of compassionate communication, also known as nonviolent communication. And one of the things that Marshall taught was that we have to eliminate enemy images. If we want to create peace in the world, a very practical thing that we can all do is to eliminate any time we think of somebody as an asshole or a jerk or a bitch. Anytime we assign an enemy image like that, we're actually creating an act of violence because we're dehumanizing them. And to learn to differentiate between the being and whatever choice or behavior they made that bothers us. Now, it's okay to be bothered by a choice. It's okay to be bothered by a behavior, but it's not okay to dehumanize someone. And so that's a beautiful practice for those of us who want to create peace in the world. Just notice anytime you're thinking to yourself, let alone uttering the words jerk, idiot, fool, you know, anything like that, don't do it. Just don't do it anymore.
Can I offer a Swami teaching on that?
Yes.
Very practice? Okay, I'll channel the Swami. Okay, next time you want to call somebody an inconsiderate jerk, take responsibility yourself. Say instead, why did I create an inconsiderate jerk like you in my life?
Yeah, there you go. That works.
Better?
I love it. Thank you, Swami, and thank you, Steve. And of course, we'll come back to you. We're going to bring back beautiful, beloved brother Phil. And Phil, I'm going to put on screen, you are calling all tribes for a moment of peace. Tell us about what we're looking at here.
Yes. Well, you know, I've been working with dear Jay Mayer and Janice Kaplan. So I know you very well because they love and support what you're doing. And, you know, Jay had this vision for many years that if we could begin as a human family to just think peace to begin with, just think. And of course, we discuss more and thinking peace is about being peace. So we're calling all tribes, all nations for a moment of peace. We're saying the time worldwide, 8 p.m. And I use the number 8, kind of, it's also, you can turn on the side, it's infinity, 8 p.m. Think peace, be peace every day. Especially we're going to launch this during these 99 days of peace through unity. But I think what's even more important, the dimension of what we're doing, is we're translating this into many languages, which, by the way, this will be this one, as well as one that will be unify the human family in war and begin peace on earth by 2030. Now, it's not important, as you can see, who I am. That's not the whole issue. The thing is, we can realize that, for instance, it's really interesting. of the world's population, only 362 million people's first language is English. 362 million, that's it. Now, in terms of the people who have learned to try to speak English, 4.8% of the world's population of more than 7 billion people actually speak English. By the way, which is interesting, very close, almost equally, you have 4.5% of the world's population that speaks Spanish. So our goal is this. This will begin here. We're going to begin in Spanish, Arabic, you name it, and then we're going to we're working on, because it's not so important. The individual is that a lot of people know this image of a headdress and so forth, by the way, by the way, lots of indigenous people wear headdresses, So anyway, but still, the world sees that. So we're seeing that we might, reach out to those relatives who we are not reaching. Can you imagine how many? You're going to share.
Beautiful, beautiful. So now the idea is ideally at 8 o'clock, wherever you are, whatever 8 p.m. time zone you're in, to take a moment of peace. And then my understanding from Jay is that anytime during the day that you're thinking of peace, and just to send it to kind of the 8 p.m. calling all tribes moment of peace vibe. Is that accurate?
Yeah, wherever you are. And so now at the same time, as more and more people understanding where we're coming from, we're adding, this dimension, unify our human family in war, begin peace on earth by 2030. That's the message we're translating into, I think, at least 90 different languages, because there's so many relatives. They speak Swahili, or they speak an indigenous language of Nigeria. We've got to reach those relatives, and we have access to those languages, this internet, because they're our relatives. They love their children as much as we love our children and grandchildren. But we're missing each other at this point. It's just part of the process. I mean, how many of our relatives, like Fumi's here with us? Thank God. By the way, I've known Fumi since she was just a young girl. She still looks like a young girl. I mean, I say that with all love and respect.
She does. She has that.
The first time I saw her was in 1985. We were at Assisi, Italy. And I was in fact, I had a picture. I've been looking for that picture. And here she was, and she's very tall and stately. She had a certain stately look about it. She does now. It's kind of like this royal stately person. I remember, wow, I think maybe she might be too tall for me though. But no, she was just stunning.
Well, it's so beautiful that, we gravitate and attract each other.
Yes,
isn't that beautiful?
True.
Yeah.
True.
And I didn't meet you on that day, but we met 20 years later.
Yep, exactly. And that's why is it beautiful?
It is. It's so beautiful how that works. Mm-hmm.
I did not know that. I mean, and I love that. So you first were in the same place together in 1985. So that's 37 years ago. Mm-hmm. But then you met 20 years later, and then here you are.
Not 20 years. Well, I met Brother Phil in Ethiopia during a Unity Earth conference. Was that 3 years ago, Brother Phil? And then we went to the Holy Land together, which happened 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2020.
And then we just started meeting on Zoom. And then we realized that Brother Phil he remembered, I know you, I've seen you in Assisi, Italy, which was a flag ceremony, Scott, that we did in front of the Basilica of St. Francis there in Assisi.
Yeah.
And he remembered me, and it was just like really magical how that happens. Yeah, it was at a World Wildlife Fund event, huge event.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Scott, that's why we have what they call Hunka relatives. That is, those people you meet in life that you meet and you know immediately you're spiritually connected. I feel that with you, and I feel that with Sister Fumi. So many. I mean, you're so close. I mean, it's almost like your own. Well, in fact, sometimes my cousin Greg would always jokes and says, you know, he says Tashi, because this is kind of one of our Dakota traditions. He says, you know, Tashi says sometimes our you know, our close blood relatives are much more difficult and give us less more pain than those who are our spiritual home car relatives, because spiritually you choose that person.
Yeah.
You choose that person. And that's part of the same thing will happen when we leave this world. We'll continue to seek spiritual. The true relationship, it's not this physical relationship. I mean, I'm glad I have my body. I'm not complaining about that deal. But you know, but you know, you know what I'm talking about. I want to go into details on that one.
Yeah, beautifully stated. Beautifully stated. Well, I'm gonna bring our other presenters up, so we're all kind of together here for a moment. So we're all online. There's Omashar, and this is going to be a shorter world unity, a shorter awakening world. To be honest, a little bit shorter than usual. But I want to give each of you, you know, just one last chance to share any closing thoughts. As we all are kind of seeing each other and appreciating all the different experiences we've had. I mean, let's face it, all five of us, like it or not, we're elders. We are elders at this time, and we all have our own unique medicine to share. And again, I want to just remind that everybody watching is just as important as the people that are on camera right now. Mm-hmm. We all are imaginal cells coming together to create the butterfly that's the new paradigm out of the dying caterpillar that's the old paradigm. The old paradigm of war, the old paradigm of white male dominance, the old paradigm of separation, make wrong, enemy images. That's the old paradigm that's ending. And we're all coming together to create a new world, a new paradigm. And every single one of us is equally important. We're just the ones that kind of are more on camera. But everybody listening and watching is equally important. And so I'd love to give each of you an opportunity for one last thought. And then, of course, I'll also go to your websites. So Fumi, I'm going to put the spotlight on you first. And for any final thoughts you'd like to share.
Right. I'd like to quote something from Martin Luther King. And I found this quote earlier this year, and I've never known about it. And I think it would be just perfect as a closing statement. It goes, we have before us a glorious opportunity to inject a higher frequency of love into the veins of civilization. Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful.
So it just reminds me that we're all together and we're working together for the love infusion. You know, let's infuse and inject love into the veins of civilization and humanity.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Fumi, I do want to take a moment and have you go share with us a little bit about the work you're doing. And I love your website. It's worldpeace.org. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Tell us a little bit about how people can participate in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. I think, you know, our signature project is encouraging people to plant peace pools, the Peace Pool Project. And, you know, it's so, it really touches me to think that millions of people have been touched by peace pools, by seeing these peace pools on every continent. And there are over 200,000 of them that people have planted. People have decided and made a choice to plant these peace pools in front of their homes, giving them away to their mayors, bringing them to schools and places of worship. It's just a beautiful project, and it goes to show that, the message, may peace prevail on earth, it's embraced by the human, heart, by the global heart, because it's a message of non-duality. And Scott, we talked about, non-duality, the polarization that's happening. I think when you have something that does, that embraces everybody beyond race, religion, and creed, and provides or creates that field of unity of the heart, people really gravitate to that. It's like you long for that. So I'm really happy and proud to represent May Peace Prevail on Earth. And I know all of you love this message. And, let's continue to just infuse love and peace into humanity together. So thank you so much, Scott.
Rumi, thank you so much. I always love being with you, and I'm going to come to your. I'm definitely going to come online to your ceremony on Friday. That looks beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I'll see you then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fumi. All right, we're going to go to Steve, aka Swami, for any last thoughts that you want to share.
First of all, I recognize that most of us are old enough to remember canned laughter. So if we were to take Chief Phil's laugh and can it and circulate it, I think it would go a long, long way to creating the world we all imagine as possible.
Doesn't he have the most beautiful laugh? Oh my God, I love his laugh.
It's an outburst. It's an ejaculation. It's an expression of great energy being put forward. The other thing that I wanted to say is that I think it's important to recognize, in talking about the new paradigm, that we have two old, obsolete, and obsolethal, which is obsolete and deadly, paradigms that are duking it out at our expense. One is the remnants of patriarchal dominator religion, and the other is of godless science that wants to turn us all into machines. And both that all-encompassing top-down religion and the all-encompassing top-down scientism disguised as science are two extremes, and we need to gather the wisdom from both of those sides and bring them together. I love the circle idea. Everybody is equidistant from the center. Circle is a sign of equality where each one of us matters, and as Swami would say, each of us is totally unique, just like everybody else. So thank you for doing this panel, Scott, and for everybody on it.
Steve, I want to just ask you, you've got this beautiful, actually YouTube channel, and tell us a little bit about it, from political battlefields to cooperative playing fields. How do people come and play with you here?
Well, first of all, Michael McSenty and I came up with this idea about a year ago. We are originally coming from two different political tribes, so to speak. And what we're recognizing is that what we want to do is we want to find the whole truth together, and we want to actually help humanity write its new story together by rehumanizing one another. All of the interviews that we have, they're all people are known and less well known, but really the focus is on one of three things: writing our new story together, getting off the battlefield and onto a new playing field, and coming up with a truth that is more encompassing than the polarized limited truths that we've been coming from. So we've been having a great time with this. We invite you to find us on YouTube, Front and Center with Steve and Mike, and you'll see a lot of great interviews. We're also going to be doing some live streams where we involve our audience.
And I also see that you've got this actual website called frontandcenter.locals.com.
Yeah, Locals is a new platform. It's kind of like a combination of Patreon and YouTube. And what we love about Locals is that it's totally there's no censorship, so that people can share their views. obviously in a way that's not hurtful to other people, but we want to make sure that all views are explored. And I think that's something that's very, very important. We want to open our hearts and open our minds to hear things that perhaps are unfamiliar to us, or we've made an enemy, and now it's time to include and transcend. That's what evolution's all about.
I love that. Include and transcend. That's powerful. Steve, it's always a joy to work with you and to see you, and thank you for the great work that you're doing. And I look forward to our next connection. Thank you so much, my friend.
Me too.
All right, I am bringing back our beloved brother, Phil. And Phil, there's a document that you sent me to show. Tell us about the Four Worlds Global Impact Fund.
Well, we were very fortunate to be able to now have a 501c3, we call donor advised fund, to support what we're doing, but as well as other global projects. One of the ones that's just getting underway is this 2-year project we're working with dear brother Darwin Rodriguez, who is the director synod of the last Inca in these communities there on the border of Colombia and Peru. And so they're so thankful. And this goes back to Atosa Blue Mountain and Sri and Kira teaming up. And so many good things are unfolding. So the Four Worlds Global Impact Fund kind of shares what we're doing. If anyone wants to contribute, they're most welcome. Prayers are equally as welcome as anything else, because we know, I think what I just say is that in Mitakiri, we are spiritual beings. Our destiny is far, far beyond this material world of time and space, although we'll stay here and learn as long as we can. But each of us is born, truly born in this in this space of time and space, sovereignties. Each of us, ancient, perishable, everlasting. That's who we are. And that's why I can laugh, because it comes from the soul. That's who we are. And I enjoy that. It's wonderful that we're sovereign, ancient, and perishable, and everlasting.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I love your energy, and well, it's such a blessing to have you on our show.
Love you.
Thank you so much.
I say that from my heart.
And Debbie, thank you for putting into the chat box all the links so we can learn more. And look at that rainbow right above Phil, the dawning of a new global civilization. And Phil, you are leading the way. You truly are. I mean, I love that image right now, just that right above you, because you truly are the inspiration leading us into a new global civilization. Thank you, beloved brother Phil. And I look forward to seeing what you and Fumi are doing together on Friday. That's going to be powerful.
She always does it so well.
Yeah, that's going to be really good. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, well, we are going to close our show with some music. I'm switching over to our beloved brother Omashar. And thank you, Omashar, as always, for being with us. And
you are welcome. And humor, it's got to be the key to almost everything. And between brother Phil and brother Steve, you have me guffawing here. Thank you so much. Yeah, humor's everything. I used to be the master of humor at the inopportune moment, the wrong moment. had to cull that back a bit. I'm going to play a song called "I Am," which is interesting because the song that we listened to last night by our brother from Ghana, Kwajo, I think his name was also called "I Am." And I have one snippet of wisdom. I don't know, it's unsolicited, something that I have going through my mind always, and I measure my thoughts against it. And I'm just going to pop it in the chat box and then go straight into the song. And basically, if in my mind I have any thought that has criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame, gossip of myself or any others, I know I'm out of alignment. And when that comes along, a little bell comes on my shoulder, and just basically I ground myself, get in touch again with Mother, my heart, and Holy Spirit, Great Spirit, and that's my practice. And with that, I'll shut up. And,
that's a beautiful practice. Now, I want to just slow down for a moment.
Thank you. I tend to rush. It's a British thing. I'll blame it on the Brits. It's like nobody wants to hear you, so might as well just rush and get it over with. But the truth is not that. And so it is beautiful. Just those.
So Omashar,
yes,
I want to read it slowly, because this is a practice that all of us could create peace with. So Omashar's practice, moment to moment, no criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame, or gossip of yourself or of others. May we all practice that. Thank you. Thank you.
driving force of us, the way of the universe. I am. Radiant sunrise is why we're here. Heart streaming light into our atmosphere, where life is dear and love will free us
You know, every time we play a new song, it's like, oh my God, how come we haven't heard that one before? I love that song.
Yeah. I have a few songs.
Yeah.
And it's when do you bring them out? Because I love them all, and but I don't pick them. I just it just drops in my shoulder, and it says this is the one. And no matter what I'm feeling about it, I'll just play it, and it always is the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, it's just beautiful. I see Karen and George and Debbie are all namasteing and thanking. So I'm going to go to gallery reviews. Turn on your cameras, everybody. It's always a nice way to close out. And I know most people have their cameras off, but it's great to see Susan and George and Karen and of course Swami and Debbie. And anyway, thank you everybody for being here. And remember, we can make any moment sacred by choosing to see the divinity in all. Let's really practice that. No more enemy images. That beautiful practice that Omashar shared with us. Just noticing when we're blaming, shaming, judging, criticizing ourselves or others, and replace that by choosing to see the divinity in ourselves and in others. Thank you, Omashar. Thank you, everybody. Take care and have a beautiful day.